So this is the 6th Fruit Basket podcast.
Yeah, episode 6.
So there's something I want to dive into pretty much immediately.
All right.
So I think on the internet, the otter is considered a universally cute animal, right? We all...
Yes, universally. If anybody disagrees, I think that would be telling about the person, that they're not the kind of person you want to be.
Well, they just caught the Golden State Killer. I'm certain that he probably hated otters, right? Just generally speaking.
Wait, they caught the Golden State Killer?
Yes, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, recently. Well, he wasn't... It was kind of before both of our lifetimes that he was on his murderous thing. It was kind of in the 70s and 80s.
I mean, I'd heard of him. I didn't know... So he got caught recently?
Yeah, on my birthday, the 25th, yeah.
Whoa!
I know, crazy.
That's so weird. Something cosmic about that.
It's pretty,
that
yeah.
He was caught on your birthday.
Yeah.
Kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Elaborate on that further.
I don't know. Maybe you're going to be the next...
I could take his mantle,
State.
The mantle as somebody who successfully rapes and kills a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay, otters. Back to that, please.
So anyway, so then I got me down to this internet rabbit hole of just kind of like what it would look like to have an otter as a pet. And then, so this next clip I'm going to play, for anyone that's just kind of going to be listening to this otter isn't being hurt or in pain.
Oh, no.
In fact, it is just being offered 2 different types of food. And it's excited. So here we go.
I love it so much already. Noisy. Oh my god. Oh my god, you're so close, dude.
So this is what you have to deal with 24 hours a day if you had an otter in your house.
I don't know. I think that's like the least of my worries. Actually, I have no worries. If that's gonna be one of my worries,
so that's not a deal breaker for you.
No.
Let's just go back in and.
We've just lost all of our listeners. They've all clicked away.
So it chose the fish, and now he still got the beef, but it wants to come maybe after it eats its fish.
Oh.
I love its chewing sounds. That's something I can still get behind, or otter chewing sounds.
Oh, is that orange juice?
That's probably otter juice.
Squeeze an otter and just... Again.
So this is life with an otter. This is what life with an otter looks like.
I love otters. I think I'd be fine with this. I think it'd be so funny.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think I would get... this otter would be released into a habitat in Long Beach somewhere, just like, okay.
No, you just set it free in the ocean.
Yeah, be free. It's a freshwater otter. It's like, what the fuck do I do here? Yeah. I don't think that happens with them, but they wouldn't really know what to do.
I don't know.
Anyway, so that's life. That's life with an otter.
They can get their their stink glands removed, right?
Do they stink? Are they stink boys?
I think they are stink boys.
Oh no!
I think they get smelly, or they have they can spray like cats do. So that is something you can get removed too. Although I would like to get my stink glands removed.
Can you get their vocal cords clipped?
No. Why would you do that? It's such a precious golden voice. They talk or they scream like Animal Crossing characters talk.
Yeah, I wonder if that's kind of what it was inspired by, or I'm not really sure.
Boop.
But yeah, so today...
Are you trying to tell me to be quieter?
No, well, let's see. It's tough to balance out. There you are. You're probably
okay, cool.
So today we went and did something kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I got a haircut.
Yeah?
Thank you for bringing that up. I went this morning at 10 a.m., same hairstylist. It was her birthday 2 weeks ago, so they decorated her station.
Wow.
As Hawaii. That was the theme of her station.
Did you feel like you had been transported to Hawaii once you got to your haircut station?
Although the palm fronds were live, like the ones they put in there, so they had all died after 2 weeks.
So she just left her birthday stuff up for 2 weeks?
Yeah. We all just want to feel special.
I guess so.
I mean, your birthday was 2 days ago, and we've still been celebrating it, and it's Friday.
Well, so today was part of it. I think this is the last bit of it, though.
I made a whole ass pie.
You did make a whole ass pie. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think that's all we did today, right?
We can take a look at something we might have done today.
Oh my god. There's evidence. Holy shit, that's loud. All right. Whoa, that was intense with the fucking shell or whatever.
So there's something I really like about this. All right, so
if you guys aren't watching, we went to a shooting range with Jordan's brother.
Yeah, so Sean's never shot a gun before.
Never.
And so this is his first time doing it. But there's really quickly, before we get into how you felt about it.
Okay.
I think we have visual evidence of how you felt about it. So there's a part of your face I want you to watch here. So
is this going to be an analysis of me?
Yes.
I thought I'd just be able to.
So here you go. You're
myself.
about to make the shot. You make the shot. Now watch the corner of your mouth. Watch it.
I think I
watch
see it
watch
turning
watch
into
it. It's
a frown.
No, it's a. Look at you. You're so excited.
Well, I'd never shot a gun before. Of course, I'm like filled with some kind of adrenaline rush here.
Mm-hmm. So what did you think?
So never in a million years did I think I was going to go to a shooting range and actually fire a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I had no desire. I still kind of have no desire to do this recreationally.
Mm-hmm.
It's an expensive habit if you aren't like a member, like your brother was saying, of the shooting range. So I didn't have any kind of prior want to go do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
But since it's your birthday, I decided, sure, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was intense. There's a lot of power between my two palms.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the best way I can describe it. There's so much.
That's what I was trying to explain.
Intensity.
It's amazing. It's a tiny explosion in your hand.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. And you can feel it. I mean,
fact,
it's just.
Let's show.
There's a little reverb.
This is you with the 44 Magnum.
God,
Ready?
This one was a revolver. Holy shit. You can see that just like reverberate through my entire body.
Yeah.
My hair looks good though.
It does. Yeah, the hair looks good. Nice and bouncy. Kind of blows your hair back a little bit on that.
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
I wish I could have this effect like always,
Just
but without actually having. Yeah.
But so what did you think of the experience overall?
It was exciting. I had like generally a good time. I think it was because I was with at least two people who like knew what they were doing. I like the one thing that I would take away from it is like I had no gun experience beforehand. Now that I have shot, was that 3 different guns that we shot?
The first 3 were like the same. They're all Glock platforms, so like very similar. One of them was more powerful than the first 2, and then the last one was a revolver. Yeah.
So, going into that, no gun experience, but leaving that with gun experience, I think after having experienced that, that's something that needs to that's like a qualification for like wanting to own a gun in the future.
I think that
if
everybody should handle them at least once. I think that should be
that's fair.
You don't have to handle it and like it, but I think that everyone should at least know what it's like to have them around you.
Still a sweaty boy.
Yeah. So you were mentioning that.
Oh my god. Yeah. So today, I mean, I got a haircut, which gives me the haircut sweats, and then I baked you a pie, which gives me the baking sweats. Because what if I screw something up?
Right.
And then I drove to the shooting range.
Got car sweats.
Which means car sweats. It's a hot fucking day. And then I went to the shooting range and had gun sweats.
So let's show them your targets.
Oh my god. I don't know if I should be like embarrassed of this.
No, no. This is pretty great. I mean, considering that like you never had shot one before.
Is this even gonna fit?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I probably shouldn't be waving this proudly in a public like setting.
So that's yours, right?
This is my first one.
This one's pretty good right here.
Concentration around the neck.
Yeah, we would notice that you really want to shoot somebody in the neck because most of your hits were neck
maybe
hits.
that was subconscious. I don't know. I feel weird with this because like, what do I do with this information? If it were like just a bullseye, like I'd be like, okay, I can aim, but like, what do I do with the concentration of bullets that I would have fired at a human target, which is the shape of this? What the neck? What do I do with this info other than I was aiming for the center and then got off? Like you want
to cause someone the maximum amount of pain without actually killing them is what that tells me.
That's terrible. I truly find that to be horrific. This is the kind of stuff that like I didn't much like about I don't much like about the gun experience, the general gun experience. Like human shit. Stop the sound. Like human-shaped targets are a little sad to me.
Yeah, I get it.
They make me a little upset.
Okay.
But I mean, it was interesting for the sake of the experience.
Yeah.
Like my first time shooting a gun.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought it was, I don't know. If it were just a bullseye, I'd be, I don't know. I'd be a little bit less like, what do I do with this information? I have the information now. But
hang on a second.
oh no. Well, I mean, for most of that segment, I was talking. So if your camera did go off, well,
It's weird. Okay.
it's
Anyway.
weird.
So yeah, yeah. So you got to experience that and kind of see what that's like.
Do you want to look at your first
Sure,
one?
we can look at it. Yeah.
It's all the way down here. Oh my god. Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was. I'm pretty impressed with your whole deal.
So this is yours. I was really scared when you started shooting.
Why is that?
Look how accurate your shots are.
Well, this was the first one. I think the
Yeah, the next one is scary.
Yeah, we can show our.
So we did at least we went up to the
This is
the
your
lane
second one.
at least 3 or 4 times, four at least.
Yeah, 4 at least.
This is my second one.
Again, high throat concentration.
I
Very
don't
interesting.
mean to do it. It's not my MO to aim for the throat, but I got one right on the red.
Yeah, you did. That's
pretty nice.
That's a great shot.
Thank you. It's a little upwards of center, and I'm impressed with myself for these.
So yeah, and then
For the sake of accuracy, I'm kind of
I
impressed
went
with
for
myself.
a few more headshots. On
Yeah,
this one.
this guy's insane. This is scary.
Yeah,
Eh.
that was okay. There was one. The 44 Magnum was much easier to shoot because it was much more accurate.
Yeah,
you
so
got
I
more-
actually want to talk about that.
Yeah.
The first couple guns that we shot were,
They're like Glocks
yeah.
essentially.
The revolver was my favorite of the ones that
Did you
we
just
did.
feel more in control of it?
Yes,
Mhm.
and I also felt more in control of loading it too.
Mhm, yeah.
Because before all the other guns, you loaded them for me because I don't think I have the hand strength to.
Yeah, those
Load a
last few
magazine.
rounds to put in are pretty difficult.
That's a lot, and I used to have hand strength. I got to start getting those squeezy balls,
Mm-hmm.
the the stress balls, not I don't know. Yeah, I could practice a little. Do you have a couple?
Somewhere. Boop, boop. So did you have a feeling about this before you went in, and that might have changed your mind after you came out of it?
I don't think so. I think I came out feeling exactly how I thought I was going to.
Mm-hmm.
I expected to come out, of course, with gun knowledge, which I did, and I also expected to feel how I feel right now. I don't feel super different. I just know that in the future, if I ever did want to own a gun, I'd be much more comfortable doing that.
Yeah, that's all it really takes.
Yeah, so now after this, it's like, okay, guns aren't that scary anymore to me. They're still super dangerous. Even loading the revolver, I was putting in bullet by bullet. But generally, handguns not super scary to me anymore.
Yeah.
Bigger guns, somebody in a lane, 2 lanes to the right of us or 3 lanes to the right of us, had a huge gun.
Well, that
he was
was
also doing rapid fire. It was
that was the scary part about all of them is none of them knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
I saw
exactly. It
him
was so
loading
weird.
it, and I'm like, oh my god, and then he's trying to show his girlfriend, but what he was showing her, he had no idea what he was doing. That was a bit nerve wracking. And then again, yeah, that's a lane rule, is to not universally amongst gun ranges to not try to shoot about a bullet a second.
I read the rules on. I think it was the form that we signed.
Yeah. So he
bullet a
clearly
second.
did not. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was
We were there for an hour and a half, probably.
I'd say so. Yeah.
And we only heard the guy come over the intercom once,
and it was for those people
for the
yeah.
rapid firing,
and they were the
yeah.
one that rented the AR-15.
Jesus. They rented an AR-15.
That's what the rifle was. Yeah, it was a 20. It was a 22, so it's a pretty small caliber one. But
still,
yeah.
To also not know how to use it and rent it from this place.
Well, that gun, and that's kind of that weird misconception. Remember, I showed you the picture of the 2 different guns that they just look different, but they're the same gun. So that one is. The handguns we were firing are more powerful than what's coming out of that rifle, which is kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah.
But it's all about kind of caliber, and then you would have more range with it, but that's about it. But like if you were shooting long range with the 22, the likelihood of you actually killing somebody without a headshot is pretty low.
Yeah.
It's just not a very big bullet, and so that's why it kind of sounded even quieter than the guns we were using.
It was, yeah.
It's like almost like a silencer on it. But anyway, yeah, it was interesting.
It was interesting
experience with you.
Wait, did we show my second one?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I forget now. But it was really interesting. I didn't tell my parents about it because I figured like my mom at least would like freak out a little bit.
You think so?
She was asking me what I was going to do today, and I was like, I'm going to see Jordan. And then I think later today or like tomorrow I'll tell them about it because I didn't want to like make her worry.
Is she gonna get mad? Is she gonna get mad at me?
No.
Okay.
Because she wants to learn how to shoot a gun.
Oh,
too.
okay, cool.
But my dad, is not like a gun enthusiast, but you know,
he
knows.
them.
Yeah, he has them.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how to fire guns and stuff, and he's always wanted me to learn. So like, I didn't tell him, and then I'll probably tell him like tomorrow or something. But,
yeah. I'm anxious to see what they end up saying because
I know I'm not from like a gun heavy family,
mm-hmm.
Or at least it's a little bit secret.
Mm-hmm.
So like the idea of firing guns is like a secret thing. 'Cause my dad, he like is a gun owner and like would never talk about shooting it. He would never even. I've never even seen a gun in the house. I don't even know if they actually exist. It might just be like an empty
an empty container.
Yeah, exactly. So it was. So I was never really like raised around guns in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they existed, but at least somewhere in the general vicinity of where I lived, but I didn't much see them. I don't think I had ever actually been that close to a gun before, other than on a cop.
Yeah, I went when you were putting in the magazine and kind of showing like how to release it, and actually the scary part for me because we shot the Glock platform guns first, which has a slide that moves. I was so nervous about you having because it'll take a chunk out of your hand.
Me,
like it'll take it'll for sure take a chunk out of your hand.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because that slide's moving so fast, and also it can
it
can clip on there. So like that, like I was cringing so hard.
Well, I had never held a gun, so I don't know.
It's weird. I didn't really think about it, and it's like one of those things. So it was like oh shit, having to kind of guide you into it. I'm like oh yeah, I forgot that he's never even held them before, which was interesting to kind of see because I think that we all grew up around them, so and we're not like we're not a gun enthusiast family. Like my dad has a 22 pistol that he bought after someone broke into their house right when they got married, and like he was yelling at him with a baseball bat, and the guy like would not. He kept climbing through the window, and then finally kind of just decided to leave. And my dad said after that moment where like my dad's a big guy, he's like 6'4". He's like, there was nothing that was going to stop this guy. He was on some kind of drugs or I don't know. He's like, so after that, I went and bought it because I just didn't want to take that chance again.
Yeah.
So he has that one. My mother has no interest. Jackson doesn't. My oldest brother doesn't have any interest, and then my other brother that we went with, he's interested.
Yeah.
So, he's probably the most interested. He's had some collection when he lived in Oregon. I mean, he had this arsenal of just.
Jeez.
The Hell's Angels would weep at what he had there. It was unbelievable. So. I'm not that into it, but I do like them as machines. I just think they're really interesting. But I am interested to see, since I posted some of it on Instagram, to see if people are just going to unfollow me on the virtue that I do something that they have been told is so like verboten.
Yeah. It's also like so out of context too that they'll see it on your story without any kind of like without listening to us talk about it.
Well, I think it's that thing with Instagram that they would think that. The people who would freak out are the ones that don't know me very well. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited to actually see who reaches out to you, and also if anybody reaches out to me because you tagged me in one.
Well, it's like Kat sent me a message, and she said protect the Second Amendment, and I said yeah, you gotta protect it, brother. Like along that, and then she's like, and I said, but I responded and I said, well, they are fun. I do enjoy them, to be honest, and because I don't think she would have known that. And then she said, "Yeah, as long as it's as long as they're not killing people." And she said they're fun as long as they're not killing people. And I said, like most everything. And she goes, "Yeah, totally." And then that was the end of it. So
good. That's a nice conversation.
I was broad because it's one of the things where I could be like, "Well, your car is really fun to drive at 100 miles an hour until you kill yourself."
Then you would start being antagonistic.
Yeah,
and you have a tendency.
Yes, I do. But I love her too much to
I love
do
her
that.
too.
And also,
great.
I think she was just fucking with me to be funny.
Brother.
But yeah, so that was that was a lot of fun for me, and it was funny because I was comparing the two videos because this was you shooting the 44 before you'd never fired something.
This is my first shot, right?
The first shot. It's like you kind of see I can see it in your whole body that you didn't know it was going to kick that hard.
No, I didn't.
And then it's like just the different. Like for me, I knew it was going to. Sorry.
Huh.
I think it's the second one. Yeah, it's kind of I kind of like knew it was.
Yeah.
How much this one ends up like kicking like a mule.
Yeah, well, fuck. Cut me some slack.
No, totally.
Homie.
I told you. I was scared you were going to drop it when you first fired it.
Really?
Because it's so heavy. And
It
then
was
it also
really
is
heavy.
so powerful. I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't drop it.
It was a really heavy piece of equipment.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a good like 12 pounds, I would say. Or like, that's probably a bit much.
yeah,
maybe
like
6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
7, 6. But yeah, so I was really glad that you got to do that.
It was cool. I think I filled my firing bullet quota for the next 20 years.
That's okay. There's one other time I'd make you do it, and I think it would be much more fun for you if we were out in the middle of nowhere doing it just with people like that are like our friends. Because when you're in a lane, it kind of can throw you off when you hear other people shooting around you.
Yeah.
But if you're the only one,
I got used to it after a little bit, but it
still jars me.
Yeah,
even
it makes you jump.
Yeah, especially if someone's shooting a really high caliber one, like the guy to the right of us. I think he was shooting like a 45 of some sort, and I kept feeling it on my right, and it was making me kind of more tense. But it's especially fun too when you're out in the desert and you can shoot things that explode, and you can shoot things that. That's like there's something very human.
I don't want to shoot things that explode. Actually, I take that back. I take that back.
Do you like? I mean, do you like? Have you ever lit off a really, really big firework?
Yeah.
It's fun, right?
Okay. Well,
and that's kind of... I actually lump sport shooting kind of into the same category. There's something very human and kind of even more specifically male about just wanting to destroy things. And
wow, that's so weird that you admit that men are destructive and the devil.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's being used in a healthy way where you're just having fun and blowing shit up.
Yeah. I mean, your brother said it... that it's like a way he blows off steam, and like go to a shooting range and do that. It's a way.
Yeah, I would say so, because it like I said, you have this kind of contained tiny explosion in your hands, which what other thing would you get to do that kind of emulates an experience like that? So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to. Maybe I will, but I'd like to see somebody else explode something. And what kind of explosive would you use? Is there going to be shrapnel?
I think it's called tannerite. It's like it's almost kind of like a C4 type substance.
Jesus.
I don't think it's legal in California. I think you can get in
count me out.
In Vegas, you can get it. Well, it's actually funny. There's a company that makes these coolers called Yeti. And they're the best. They're the best coolers on the planet.
But they're like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, they're hundreds of dollars, which is what makes the story kind of funny. Okay. And they're about $500 a piece because they will keep you'll have ice for 5 days. I mean, they're amazing. So I mean, if you're going hunting or like a long time camping trip or whatever, you can keep the meat you have fresh. Yeah. You can also keep drinks or whatever. Yeah. You will have cold stuff for that 5-day period.
Fishing and
exactly
deep sea fishing.
Yeah, and you can do it for more than one day without having to go home that night. So they made some kind of low-key statement that they're not supporting the NRA or something, and now all the gun retards have just lost their mind, and they're just putting a bunch of tannerite in their Yeti containers and just blowing them up.
Oh,
and it's
my
like,
God.
How dumb do you have to be? You're not hurting them. You're just
not at all.
You're just blowing up your $500 investment. Yeah. You're just proving you actually bought one.
They already have your money. There's nothing.
But it's so funny how easily
silly.
it is to pander. I mean, and I'm not even picking on gun people. I mean, this happens with let's say like a
I'll pick on gun people.
Chick-fil-A is a good example. Do you remember when Chick-fil-A said they don't support gay marriage?
Oh yeah.
And everyone freaked out. And I'm like, dude, it's a fucking chicken sandwich. And also the guy who owns the company is allowed to have that opinion. It's not that big of a deal. But people would go through and like get a water and then chew out the employees, and they're like, we just work here. What the fuck are you talking about?
I know plenty of gays who've worked at a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, no, they're not going to.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? Just because the owner has some views that are kind of backwards, or even just behind. Yeah, you know? But they're super Christian.
What was it? H&M or Urban Outfitters was the same way.
People still. Well, that's the funny one. Is the Urban Outfitters guy, and I could be quoting this incorrectly, but the guy who owns it, he remember all the stuff in Urban Outfitters is like, I'm with her, like Hillary type stuff.
Yeah.
So he donates like crazy to Republican causes.
Holy shit.
So that whole store has this kind of guys that like, we're so fucking leafy.
Yeah. And yet your money
Cello
goes
Life,
like almost directly to
the things that you purport to hate. Yeah. Which the irony of that is so juicy. Just because the people who would buy that shit there deserve to sort of be duped that way, because
I stopped shopping at Urban Outfitters years ago because it's so fucking expensive.
It's expensive.
First of all,
it's expensive fast fashion.
That's
why I don't like it.
What's the point?
Yeah, you'd rather just go to H&M and spend less money.
Yeah, I do buy my pants there sometimes, or like that's where
they
have
do fit
bought
better.
pants.
They're whatever their brand is, it fits better than
Yeah.
other ones I've noticed.
And then I think these are from like PacSun, which is another fast fashion place. But I mean, jeans, I get. I mean, these ones are like sort of falling apart. There's a hole in the back.
I think it's okay to buy. I mean, I'm not talking ethically. I just mean in terms of value. Pants are worth buying fast fashion because
I think so.
you're not going to really. You don't really want. I don't want designer jeans because they look super ridiculous.
And
anyway.
they're also like $500.
Yeah, there's really no middle ground, is there?
These were like $40, and I've had them for like 4 years.
Exactly.
And they're the same exact color as when I bought them.
And pants should fall apart when they fall apart. But the problem is with H&M, the weird collars that on their shirts that fold over because they don't iron them correctly. And
yeah, it's weird. I think it may have to do with ironing, and it may have to do with sewing them. Because I don't know, something about this collar. I think it's a double. I forget what that would be called, but it's like a double stitch. So there's 2 rows of stitching, and then on the other side there's a zigzag stitch between them, which is I think the most like the best kind of stitch for anything like this because it needs to stretch, and they also do it usually at the bottom of like t-shirts and stuff. But for H&M shirts, I think they do a cheaper stitch, which uses less thread, and it's just the zigzag and then 1 stitch.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's why it rolls over like that, which is so frustrating.
It's frustrating because it seems like it should have been an issue they could have corrected, but every shirt I own from them has that problem.
Yeah. The double stitch like reinforces the direction that it goes. Like it flips. This one flips up. It doesn't flip into my shirt.
So I kind of want to change gears.
Yes.
There are two things I want to talk about. One will lead into the other, and the other will lead into the other.
Okay.
Well, the first one will lead into the next one, and the next one will lead into the next clip. But the first thing I want to talk about is Coachella. What are your thoughts on Coachella?
Man, I mean, we've had this discussion before. I would never go to Coachella unless it was like a paid trip. I got all of my stuff for free, and I could just enjoy the music and have fun. But if I have to pay like hundreds of dollars and also pay to like camp or glamp, actually less than glamp, it's fucking squalor to camp on this dry grass, dry pasture, around like sweaty, hungry people who like only want like water and food and
drugs.
Yeah, and drugs, so all the necessities. It sounds gross to me, and it always has looked that way. And people who go there, it's like it's really cringy to see what people like post, and there's something weird about it that has become like the cool thing to do.
It's almost like everybody who goes there and then posts about it. It's like you suffer from you get dusted with a virus when you're there that takes away your self-awareness.
Oh my god!
Because I have seen people that aren't cringy that I know post the cringiest. My life has been changed thanks to Coachella. No, it hasn't. You were just on so much fucking Molly, you don't know the difference.
Yeah. I was watching a video by Cody Ko, this YouTuber I really like, and he did a video with his girlfriend, like, judging people's Coachella photos, and he was saying, like, I hate Coachella, but you become the person that you hate when you go to Coachella. So if I were there, I'd probably be doing the exact same thing.
No, because as funny as he is, I don't...
You don't believe that?
No, as funny as he is, I think that he would do that anyway. I think that...
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he's as self-aware as you think.
You just want to shit all over my favorite people.
No, I like him. I find him funny. But I was watching something else of his that made me sort of make that connection just now, where I was like, you kind of are the same person that you're talking about in a way.
I know. That's why he said it in the video. He said that he's the exact
my
same
point is that
person
you
he makes
just
fun of.
Right, but he said that only because he goes to Coachella, and I'm like, no, it's because you are that person.
No, I mean, if we want to watch
too.
the first part of the video, we can totally go back and see what he actually said.
It doesn't matter, but
I just want to pick a fight with you.
Yeah.
We never fight.
It's true, we don't really. Yeah, there's just something about it. It's like, so what I'm gonna pay, you know, probably $600 because no one can buy. Well, you're gonna pay for the ticket before they release a lineup, which is the thing that's happened in the last 4 years, and which is so stupid to me.
That is really stupid.
Yeah,
you're paying and you don't know what you're going to get.
And then Ticketmaster bots buy them all up anyway before you can actually go up and try and actually buy them. Yeah. So you'll end up paying double the retail value for sure. So you get there, you're sharing like 7 porta potties with 70,000 fucking people, more than that probably. And so like there's just piss and shit all over the place.
Oh, totally.
You're guaranteed to get a bronchial infection. I mean, that is going to happen. Everybody I know that went there has like an upper respiratory infection right now.
If you don't wear underwear, you're going to get an STD if you sit on the grass.
It's airborne there at this point.
STDs are airborne.
Yeah, it's like you just get airborne herpes. And it's just, but the other part of it too is it's just a bunch of fucking 14-year-olds who are just blasted out of their mind because their parents like let them go to these things, and it's
crazy.
It's all about, because I used to go to them. It's going to sound so douchey, but I am old enough to where like when I was 18, 19, I used to get free tickets to Bonnaroo. So as long as I could find a way out there in Tennessee, I can go see Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
We didn't. You had Facebook, but you didn't have. You couldn't share everything immediately, so there was really no value in staging your life to look like it was super enjoyable at this thing that people would feel bad about missing out on. It was more like I have to make the most of what I have here to enjoy who I want to see, and then just have the memory to either keep to myself or tell the friends that are interested in knowing about it. Now you broadcast your whole life about everything you're doing, so it has become. It's just about, I don't know what it's about for people. Like, the other thing too is how many people I saw didn't post like just one picture, and not even the thing where it was the thing where you can swipe through multiple.
Swipe over?
No, just multiple fucking posts from people I respect, and I don't understand what they like. Yeah, what's the point? Like, pick the one best one to prove that you were there, and you're good to go.
And if you want to include others, make it one of those where you swipe through,
and
so we can choose to see them,
or choose to not swipe, which I would not.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It makes me so mad that I've been guilty of it before, when people would post photos from like a photo set, and it's just like their entire feed, like the last 9 photos of their feed is the same like setting or like same outfit. It's like, come on, we have this feature now that will allow you to post multiple. Yeah,
it's really aggressive, is what it is.
And I'm gonna dominate your timeline.
So anyway, that's enough about that. Because I want to move quickly into the next thing.
Yes.
Because I think the next 2 things are going to occupy a little bit of time. I want to talk about Kanye West.
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about this a little bit.
Yeah, this has been really interesting to me. So I would love to get your thoughts on it initially first.
Well, I think I totally agree with you So we were talking about this. Oops, I keep pushing this. But we were talking about how, well, of course, if you don't know, Kanye West went on this tweeting rampage about being a free thinker, and I guess that's the general idea. That's the main idea of it. That it's sort of admitting that he's not so much a liberal person, or maybe he just has, I don't know. He would align more with people in conservative parts of politics.
Yeah.
And so he like tweeted at Donald Trump and things like that, where and Donald Trump said like, "Thanks so much, Kanye." Cool.
He said that.
Weird.
He said, "I love you, brother. You have dragon energy."
Dragon energy.
Dragon energy.
Yeah. I want some of that.
I do too.
I feel like I have it right now because I'm drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Just got back from this adrenaline rush of firing a machine at an explosive.
You made me focus on myself
hand.
just now, and I think that I am pretty fired up too. But. But yeah, this whole thing was there's actually I was following this pretty closely because I'm a pretty like I would say a centrist. Well, actually, I'm probably a left-leaning centrist.
Yeah.
But because I have some sort of right things that I like guns, for example, you have to be the straight ticket person now. Like, you know, I could list the a million things in which I'm a liberal and also being a gay person.
Yeah.
But because I like guns, I'm now this crazy.
It stretches you all the way to some other.
It's like, I have no choice.
This podcast could get us labeled on the
most certainly. Well, it was
SPLC site.
Well, all this stuff I kind of did by design, like these. Yeah. So in terms of having this conversation, so what was interesting was initially he was tweeting all this stuff about, you know, having a free mind, and if you're an artist, it was like all this kind of existential sort of pseudo intellectual stuff because Kanye's a moron.
He's not intellectual at all.
No, I mean, I think that he's kind of an idiot savant. I think he's a good artist, but I think that he is not by any means somebody that should have a public opinion about most anything. But even with this thing, I think it's important, and I'll explain why in a minute. But so then instantly, and you can quote it because you look at my Twitter. I liked it the day that he did it was when he said that I like the way Candace Owens thinks, and I in that moment knew who Candace Owens was, and I don't agree with her on a lot of shit. Like she's got some stuff about trans people that's gross, and I think it's just because she's a new conservative, and kind of the same thing when people come out of the closet and are super gay instantly. I think that she's
super conservative because she just came out.
Exactly, she thinks that, and I think the weird thing about the right at the moment, and this is what I was saying to you, is that it's so fractured. There are portions of the right that are more willing to listen to oppositional views and let you in, and the left is so
really
uninterested.
Far,
like, and so even him. So Kanye is not saying that I voted for Trump. In fact, in a lot of the Trump tweets, he said I don't agree with everything he says.
He actually says that.
I'm just trying
Trump.
to bring us together and all this kind of stuff. So what's made this so interesting, and there's a lot of conservatives like Ben Shapiro said, I don't really think that we should be listening to Kanye. He's a moron, and I agree. But here's what's interesting. Trump is arguably the most famous person on the planet right now. And I'm not even...
Well, you were saying politically, right?
Politically, but I think in general, which is the first time this has ever happened with a president. I think that, globally, and this is just, such a weird phenomenon, and also he uses Twitter, meaning that he just has diarrhea of the mind constantly.
Yeah.
And now, Kanye and his wife who defended him for these tweets, are arguably the most famous people culturally on the planet. So now you have this idea of where I think that the left has they retch at any idea that, and I think we've talked about it on previous podcasts, where I think that a lot of this hyperactivism with gay stuff, I'll use our thing for example, is so intense and kind of, if you're not right, you're wrong kind of thing. If you're not on our side, you're wrong. That it's alienating people. It's pushing them away. They're like, dude, this is 56 genders. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't really know what. What? And then
it's so bizarre to people, to anybody who's even remotely on the outside of that. So it does push them away.
Yeah. And so this is so interesting because now we have these cultural behemoths, and we have now this cultural and political behemoth combining as one to create this weird kind of Bizarro World Voltron.
Ooh,
which is very...
I love that reference.
Yeah.
Voltron is one of my favorite cartoons at the moment. I need to finish watching the original one.
It's quite a bit different.
Yeah.
But this is such an interesting cultural flashpoint for me.
It's crazy. I think actually, it could be a nice turning point. You were saying that it could bring people together actually, because there are so many people who are liberal and support Kanye.
Yeah.
And Kanye tweeting about Trump in a way that's, I don't totally agree with him, but he's got dragon energy. It's sort of like, have you ever seen those Danimals commercials? I don't know why I just thought of this, where there's two flavors in one cup, and Cole Sprouse is mixing it. Did you ever see those?
No, I've never seen this. No.
Maybe I'm a little young.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just see I see this yellow mixture and this pink mixture, and Cole Sprouse is the
that's gonna be your next
who's stirring.
That's gonna be your next viral meme. What I think is so interesting about it is that the left has gotten so intense, and I'll call it the neo-left, kind of like neocons were in the 90s.
It is the neo-left.
It's the neo-left, and where this thing where, for instance, even me kind of pushing back on some of the gender stuff, I'm out of the club. I can't even...
Yeah.
It's pushed me actually kind of further right because I can't... They don't want to talk to me anymore. They don't want to have a discussion about it. And it's this thing in which there is no science to back a lot of this stuff, but it kind of comes out of the intelligentsia of college campuses. And so, but they're taking it as its fact. And even though it may be, I almost don't find it to be terribly helpful. And one of the biggest arguments for me in terms of gay stuff is if gender is this kind of social construct, meaning that your parents can, or the societal pressure can influence your gender, it fucks up our argument that you're born gay. Which I think is really, really, really important packaging because it's simple, it's neat, it's clean, and it's probably true.
Probably, yeah.
And so, and I don't even think that the problem is that when I talk like that, I don't even think that they're wrong. I think that whatever
we just don't know who's right. There's no way to stand your ground on something like that if you don't actually know the truth.
Exactly, and it's kind of it's the to talk about something even more controversial, it's very similar to how I talk to you about abortion, where I'm pro-choice, but not because I believe that 3 months is the appropriate time to kill a baby. Like, I don't want to kill a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the argument that I know when life starts, like whether it be conception or at 3 months, is the most arrogant fucking thing on the planet.
There's no way you can actually, there's no way you can determine that.
Like, Jordan, am determining when something's a life. Like, I mean,
exactly.
And then the people who are saying that it's right when the sperm touches the egg, and I'm like, that could be right. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah,
like,
there's no way to really know. We don't have the technology or the science to know it yet.
Exactly. Well, I mean, and even
and also it's all ethical
we do.
And moral.
It's ethics, and it's that kind of thing of where, like, to me, it's trying to have a moral consistency, because someone who's in a persistent vegetative state, like myself, let's say I got in a car accident and was brain dead, I'd want you to pull the plug. Like, I do not want to be alive. That is not a quality of life. Similarly to a fetus that's going to be, or a child that's in a family that can't afford to take care of it, that would not be a very high quality of life, in my opinion. Or also, if you knew they're going to be born with some kind of serious disease that's going to make them suffer, my attitude, and I'm not saying this is correct morally, this is a logistical issue for me, is I'd rather you just don't have that kid and try to have a more viable, healthy kid. But I also understand how the other side would see that as morally reprehensible, and I think
absolutely,
I think they're right, but I just don't really value human life the same way. I see it differently.
Yeah. And that's okay. I think having that opinion somewhere on the spectrum of pro-choice and pro-life, that's fine. I mean, you're leaning a little more towards, I mean, you are pro-choice, but
totally.
It's, I guess, explaining yourself further it does distance you from like the right, and of course also a little bit the left, because for the left, the major like reason for being pro-choice is like women's rights,
which is weird to me.
It is a little bizarre. I think it's a nice mixture of like the two, and also like if like the woman thinks that like you were saying, like it's not a good quality of life for their baby, like great, their choice. It's a mix of that for me.
Well, that's a crazy, like, the crazy part about it is how the argument has now become about a bunch of white-haired men dictating what women can do to their bodies, and I'm like, well, how about all you ladies get together and see how quickly you make a baby with just all of you guys? It's like, it's not like we're not 50% of the equation here. It's like, and we don't get to say anything about it.
I think they have the technology to do it now. They take it from your bone marrow, right?
I think that's how it works, yeah.
Yeah, I think you could. That's how lesbian women have children now. They just...
Anyway, it's just, so this is interesting, but it also leads me into this next thing I wanted to talk about. So I think a lot of what has made the neo-left is what is called explanatory journalism. Do you know what that is?
No, please explain it.
So explanatory journalism is this kind of new. It's kind of I think it's a millennial thing that started with us, where it's this. It's things like Vox and like BuzzFeed, where they go 56 genders. Like, let's talk about that, and it's like. You always thought that it was only 2, but actually, according to blah blah blah, it's this. It's like those kinds of videos, and that sort of journalism, I think, has spawned, because it's not really. I've noticed they reference they reference an exception, and as I've gotten older, I don't really give credence to exceptions. Exceptions are interesting, but they're not what should change the rule of law.
Well, it's exactly, I don't know why I just thought of this, but it's exactly like the lady who started the like no vaccination movement.
Right.
She had like one like academic paper out of 10,000, and the one said, don't vaccinate your kids, it causes autism, and the 10,000 said vaccinations are good for society.
Right. So
that one like exception is what caused her to start this.
Well, it's also
silly no vaccination movement.
How these intellectual papers are written. So there's actually this guy. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. But if you Google what I'm about to say, you'll find it pretty quickly. But he wrote an article in really flowery academic language about how penises cause global warming.
Oh my God. Okay, something about flowery academic language. That is like liberal arts college specialty, which I went to.
And you can get lost in it and think that what they're saying is fact. And like, this article is total bullshit. But when you're reading it, you could be convinced that what he's saying is true because of the way in which he presents the arguments. And explanatory journalism is totally the same thing. So I'm going to pull up this video real quickly.
No, when I went to Bennington, my liberal arts college in the Northeast, I took like 2 or 3.
Sorry.
That's okay. Is that
Francesca Ramsey?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is.
Oh my God. Okay, so I took like 3 philosophy classes at Bennington, and all of my papers were like flowery, and and they were pseudo-intellectual. That's exactly what they were. I can pull some of them up. I wrote a paper on cyborgs, and I wrote a paper on fucking mirrors. Like, if everybody had a mirror in front of them, they'd make better decisions. I thought I was being really smart, and, like, looking back, I, like, cringe at my own papers. Maybe I'll have you read one time, because it's terrible. I passed the class, though.
Well, yeah, because you're impressing people who like flowery academic language.
Absolutely. Actually, no, I really respect my professor of that class. I think the students, though, I mean, myself, we just were, I don't know, we all wanted to be academics and intellectuals that we would attempt to be. But my professor was amazing. She's great, and she was also really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I think you definitely have the exceptions to the rule, and I think that they're all. That's the thing is, all this stuff. I'm not in that camp on the right that says these people are all like out to kill us all. I think they're all really well intentioned, but I just think that there is a point at which what you're putting forward is not terribly helpful to just quality of human life, and also it's so inconsequential to all the shit that's happening in the world that is actually killing a lot of people. You know, like how, or just to distract from how many people are dying from pain pills, or I don't know, whatever else makes you sleep better at night.
Although I think Trump is going after opiates in the U.S. Didn't you see that?
Yes, yeah, and Dr. Drew's helping him.
That's awesome. Yeah. I saw that and I was like, fucking finally, like, oh my god.
Yeah, and actually, we need to wrap the Kanye West thing up, because it's like, so one of the someone else I don't like very much, which is Chance the Rapper. He did tweet that after, because everyone was just freaking out that Kanye was doing this. Chance the Rapper tweets, "Not all black people have to be Democrats."
Yeah,
and it's like, that's the thing, and that's a lot of how I felt as a gay person. I feel like I'm being used as your fucking pawn to advance your political stuff, and I think that, and I'm like, fuck that. Like, how our minority status is being used. Like, why I don't know. That is the weirdest part about it, of how it is verboten to think anything else other than what this group is saying. And then now with things like we're about to watch is what's really pushing me away. So let's go ahead and start this.
Why is it totally okay to call cars and boats she? But then when an actual trans person or a gender non-conforming person asks to be called she, it's controversial?
And this is... her face express... I mean, she has to be this expressive.
And this is the thing, is like, do you think that being this fucking smug is getting your point across to somebody?
No, not at all.
And that's the thing that I was wondering, Sean, is who is this for? Who's watching this and be like,
right, what's the audience?
I had never thought of this before. Interesting.
Her audience is exactly who already knows all this.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's...
Yeah, or believes us.
There's been a lot of public debate lately on the issue of pronouns. Like, can you choose your own? And are there really more pronouns than he and she? And what's going on with they? To help me answer these questions, I brought on my friend, Patty Harrison.
Patty Harrison, someone who may be more smug than Francesca Ramsey.
No, the smugness. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's like they definitely love the smell of their own farts. There's no question.
By the end of this, I'll be, like, crying.
In a smug coma. Yeah.
She's here to help. Hey, Patty, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Franch?
What did you just call me?
Franch. I know you like to be called Francesca, but Franch is easier and quicker for me to say, so I'm just going to call you that now.
Okay, what are you doing?
I'm sloppily making a point to the audience.
Ew.
Okay,
they're both terrible actors.
Yeah, but this also is just... This is a fucking comedy vacuum, is what this is. They're trying to be
not funny at all.
And it's not working at all. And again, it's like, it's that thing of where I don't think that this is rooted in bad intentions.
No, of course not.
It just is. But again, who is this convincing?
Yeah, I think it's really misguided in that they think they're actually making an impact.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing, is I don't understand why MTV funds this kind of stuff, because this is like, again, the right like to dislike on this is just not in their favor. I mean, and no one's watching it, and I'm kind of like, why do you guys keep... Like, why does she have a show? Because everything is either this kind of weird race baity stuff. Like, they had one that's really interesting. So it's a statistic that makes people go crazy. And again, knowing statistics is kind of, I think, why I'm kind of more center leaning. So we hear this thing about white privilege and how white is like the worst possible thing ever, right? But in the reality in the United States, Asians academically and fiscally outperform white people by a huge margin, right? They create a video to explain that away.
Really?
Yeah, they're just kind of like, well, but actually, there's this subset of Asians that make way less money than white people. And I'm like, But that's not the fucking point. Like, they had to still make it about white people.
Yeah.
And it's like...
That's really weird.
I don't get what the agenda
that.
is, really, other than just to... Because I'm not going to feel shame for something I have nothing to do with. It's just I'm not going to do that. I think that the idea that I could live my life as a white person and be treated differently is possible, but you could never fucking prove it because... Like, if you have an interaction that you think goes poorly because you're black and they don't say any bad words or use any big words about your race, you're going to leave that. You're going to leave thinking it's a race thing because you're already thinking it's a race thing. Like a bad interaction with a cop because you're black.
Too.
And so it may statistically be true that you're having a problem because you're black, but you can't give me data. And so I don't really care about your anecdotal evidence. It's just not interesting to me. And that's kind of like stuff with this. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah, unless the cop is like firing, I mean, not firing a gun, but like giving you like N-bombs left and right.
Dude, well then, yeah, you have that's quantifiable, real evidence that something happened. Yeah. But yeah, how you feel is not interesting to me. How you felt in that interaction was, I don't care about that statistic.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Lots of colleges have started requesting students disclose their gender pronouns
Colleges.
so their
Of course it's
professors know how to
colleges.
refer to them in
Of
class.
course.
One boy at University of Michigan found this policy to be ridiculous. So as protest, he told teachers that his pronoun was not he or she or them, but His Majesty. He felt the pronoun.
It's like
It's
he
brilliant.
has every right to do
Yes.
that because people are choosing their pronouns. What if they like think, oh, I'm just gonna pull one out of my freaking butt to be different?
Well, because it is absurd. Like, look,
It is a little absurd.
There are things I'm willing to get behind, which I think that if you want to be, if you're a trans person and you want to be whatever gender, that's fine with me. They is fine, but it's the same thing I've said to you before, that if someone wants to choose to identify as that, I'm not really going to spend time with them because it's too much work. And I think that you will eventually come upon a gender that you're comfortable with.
Well, I think it's too much work when the person is like combative about the thing. Like if you misgender them, they might correct you and you say, okay, cool, let's move on.
Right.
But if they keep fighting you on it,
it's too much. And it's
Yeah.
also that thing too of where I don't, again, who is that for? Is it because you're insecure about your identity? Because why are you getting mad at me who clearly
Yeah.
is on your side and trying?
Exactly. I'm like, we are allies of you.
And it's that thing with the trans community where they get angry if people ask questions they see as rude.
But what if people are genuinely interested? How do you get more people
And
informed?
even if the question is rude, tell them that, like, that's like kind of it's kind of rude to ask that, opposed to saying that it's like
I used to do
an
that
act
when
of
I first
violence
came out
or-
as gay. Like, of course, you want to be gentle with corrections with people, because if you are aggressive and somebody like says something that's maybe a little bit homophobic, I'll be like, hey, I'll answer your question, but like,
Right.
it's a little, maybe you could word it this way.
Sure.
In the case that you may offend somebody else. You didn't offend me, but like, there you go. Like, go on with your life with that information. But if I were angry and I started like, if I just started an argument with somebody for saying something that was slightly out of pocket, they're gonna be pushed further away from my situation.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's ridiculous.
But
But
this-
anyways, yeah.
Pronoun policy was leading the school into a fantasy land of
Ew, I
political
hate
correctness.
that is the
It
most.
allowed
It's so
students
smug.
to
They're so
use
smug.
words that aren't even actual pronouns. Look, the way we refer to ourselves has changed a lot. But in order to actually understand this, we're going to have to talk about two of the sexiest topics in the world: language and grammar. Call 1-900 grammar now.
God.
Today, when speaking
Ew,
English, we
ew,
don't
that
gender
wasn't
our nouns,
funny.
No,
but we
she's
still
so
use
That was
unfunny.
gendered
just weird.
I know, it's just weird. And it's yeah.
third-person pronouns. If you need a refresher, there are first-person pronouns like I and me, which refers to
So again, who is this for?
I can't even keep my posture. I
I just want to
slouch
sink.
for this.
So like, let's just get her to kind of
who is this
move
for?
past.
It's a 6-minute video.
Beyonce ate her food because she was hungry. Other languages like Finnish and Hungarian are entirely gender neutral and use the same pronoun for everyone.
Cool.
And they communicate fine. They've been doing it for
The outlier. The outlier. The
But also,
outlier.
are we supposed to abolish language? Like, are we supposed to abolish the way we speak English
But-
and the way people speak Spanish and French?
But here's
Everything is gendered.
So
It's not-
she's making this on the assumption that those two places created these languages because they were so cool about gender issues, and they
It's
knew
just how their
they
language
didn't-
formed.
Dude, thousands and thousands of years ago, they didn't know there'd be fucking transgender people. Like, what the fuck is she talking about? And so,
Or
like,
gender neutral people.
or whatever. I mean, but like they're the exception to the rule. It's kind of like that thing of where well, men rule these societies, but in Papua New Guinea, there's a tribe, it's a matriarchy. And I'm like, so does that mean that that's better?
Right.
Because they're also, I see them eating dirt. So I don't really think that this is, these exceptions to the rules, I don't really understand.
Hey, that was racist.
And to argue, too, the two places that she just named are the two whitest countries on the planet. So it's just kind of like, it's weird. It's just so weird to me. And the majority of countries, or basically the whole fucking globe, uses gendered pronouns. And I think that by design, it's for a good reason. So, because it makes language confusing. I think that, and I mean, I don't know. I don't speak fucking Norwegian, but...
yeah. I mean,
does?
as somebody who is... I speak two gendered languages.
Right.
Well, sort of. Actually, English isn't even that gendered. We refer to items as it.
You're right. Yeah, we don't have like... it's not
we
like
don't
Spanish
gender
that way, yeah.
nouns. Yeah, so speaking French, I mean... Like, there are words that, of course, like la fleur is the flower, but it's a feminine word, or it's a female word. It has a female pronoun, but that doesn't mean that it's a girl. I mean, you can have dogs. You could have a dog that's un chien or une chienne, and that's it's exactly the same. I mean, you can gender. I mean, we don't gender dogs gender neutral. We don't call PETA they. Oh,
he might prefer.
Oh,
it,
they're snoring. Yeah, he might prefer it if he understood.
It is weird though. Like in that in that one, I mean, it's still grammatically incorrect. But to say they're snoring, that's very strange sounding to me. But I don't mind that as much. It's the thing of, what I'm trying to think of which. There's one part of it that I don't. It's just I'll never get used to it when they use it's a plurality that just seems weird.
Like using they for like a
I think it's them. Them is the one I don't like.
Yeah, that is. It is a little weird
when
to get
they
used
reserve
to that.
when they prefer when they're talking to themselves, and you're just like, well, this is this now we don't have a plurality anymore.
Yeah.
So what do we do now?
Yeah.
For a group of people, and I just think that, and again, I'm not a big believer in, and I know this is controversial, but I'm not a big believer in the no gender thing. I'm kind of just like.
So I'm okay with. I mean, generally speaking. If somebody wants to be referred to as he, she, or they, that's fine by me. Anything that goes a little beyond that, I'm going to need a bit more from you to understand why, how, where this... I mean, there was somebody in my class... There's somebody in my class at Bennington who identified as Z.
See, I wouldn't do it.
Z and I think Z-zer.
Yeah.
And it was very weird, and it made me... Well, it was very different. I had never experienced that before. And it made me not want to call on Zer during class. It was bizarre because I couldn't really talk to.
Do you think that
Zer.
Do you think that Zer has ever experienced any form of real poverty in their life?
No, absolutely not. Well, nobody at this school had ever experienced real poverty in their life. I don't think that's true
just the
for
priorities.
anybody.
But here's the deal. Scientists have said that this whole gender flip-flopping thing, meaning that you can be it doesn't exist. But you can quantify gender dysphoria. That is real.
Yes, of course. I believe that wholeheartedly. Excuse me.
At the moment, for them to insist that this is reality is the same as people saying that climate change is not caused by humans. And so now the left is what's denying science, and like
that's scary.
Dude, and I'm telling you, the second a scientist comes out and says, "Well, actually, your brain can have some chemical releases that will make you feel different genders at different times. Therefore, it's helpful to have a they/them kind of system." I will never have this discussion ever again.
Yeah,
I will be like, "All right,
exactly.
Science said so. I'm in."
Yeah.
But at the meantime, this is just about people's feelings and academics telling them and convincing them. I think that this is, and I think that also it's people wanting to have an identity that they didn't have one before. So like they can be in the queer community now by doing that, and I think that a lot of them just didn't have any other differential or a well outlined identity before this happened for them. So
I want to make it clear that I want people to always be comfortable,
of course,
with themselves and identify in a way that makes themselves comfortable.
Yeah, I'm just
even
saying
now
I'm
I'm using
skeptical of
themselves. I am skeptical of things like Zer, of course, because that's. You're inventing a word for yourself.
Yep.
This is I don't know. It seems a little. I don't know what the word for it would be, but it just seems a little like self-serving to invent a pronoun for yourself, and also where did it come from? And I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable when people get antagonistic about their pronouns. If you want to identify a certain way, cool, go for it. I don't want to I don't want you to think that I'm stepping on your toes by misgendering you.
Right.
While I may be, I don't want it to be like, oh, I stepped on your toes, I'm going to keep stomping on it. I want it to be, oh, I maybe nudged your toes.
Here's the
Let's go back.
But here's the reality, though, and I think this is what's been lost in translation over this kind of all these issues, is most people don't purposefully want to start a confrontation with somebody else.
Right.
Most people want to live their whole life avoiding conflict. Mm-hmm. And so this idea that people are systematically trying to just shut you down or like cause gender violence, it's such it's such fantasy land. And anyway, we need to keep this moving.
Yeah.
Long time. Finnish language is old. It's very old. But if you took French
exactly.
or Spanish
It's
or
old.
German in school, you probably already know that most European languages use gendered pronouns and have genders.
Why is she talking like that?
I don't know.
It's a
Grammatical
language.
gender
I don't know.
decides whether a specific word is feminine or masculine.
So we just
For
talked about all
example,
this.
What thing along the English language used a similar grammatical gender. Instead of saying the or a before a word, Old English had a masculine article, say, then must pronouns, since these words come across as more neutral. Some people identify as non-binary, which means they don't identify as either male or
Amandla is
some consider
non-binary?
themselves genderqueer, which means
guess so.
between or outside the conventional
Courtney
spectrum.
Gender queer too. I'm just like, what?
That's weird
What are we
because
doing?
Courtney Act is a drag queen.
Right. So then she would identify as gender queer.
I don't know.
Outside the conventional spectrum of gender. What the fuck does that even mean? You clearly present female.
Well, first of all, what is the conventional spectrum of gender? Male, female, and then all in between. But what's outside
They are
of those?
deciding that.
Alien.
Alien.
Oh my god.
Alien gender.
Sexy, sci-fi, kind of like look.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about
That's
here.
that person I would give genderqueer to, because I don't
Yes.
know what is going on there, and there could just be a mound and
I want to see that. And a little pee hole.
And a little
Or like
pee hole.
a
oh yeah, like a
like
fish part.
the shape of water fish penis.
Yeah.
Or a vagina. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's just a little more simple. I think it just would maybe open up like a fish's mouth.
oh god.
Masculinity and femininity. And some people consider themselves
she
to be
crosses her
agender,
arms.
which means without gender.
I don't
The point
Why
is,
is she clapping?
you can't
Well, didn't it seem like she hated that
Yeah,
concept?
it did.
She's such
It's like she's like reverting back.
she is such an astronomical asshole. I can't. It's just.
And the black turtleneck.
Oh my god, she just thinks she's so fucking brilliant.
always know what someone's pronouns are just by their appearance. Asking and correctly using a person's pronouns is one of the simplest ways to show your respect for their gender identity. Right, Francesca? You know what I'm talking about. Language and grammar.
What?
Okay, but it's also
that
true
was so
they
weird.
feel awkward
what
to
are
say
we
that as a
watching?
Single person because we're used to
I
hearing
love
it as
these
a
stock
plural.
photos.
All right, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't get who this is for or why they're doing this. Just MTV, just stop. BuzzFeed, stop doing these things. And here's the thing: as a PSA, as a gay person, you are not helping us. You're hurting us. Please stop doing this. Because this like trans people are only 0.03 of the population, and like who's like the genderqueer is probably, if you rounded up the number, it would be 0%. So like this is not something that matters, and like I want everyone to feel comfortable in their own skin, of course, but pick your battles. Like this is not what.
Yeah.
And again, just know that science is not on your side with this one. So.
At least not now.
Not now. It may be,
Yeah.
and when it is, I will make a video agreeing with you, or I'll shut up about it. But
Oh my god, we'll throw in a clip of this podcast into a new podcast episode like 3 years from now.
Right.
And it'll be like, so I said this 3 years ago.
right.
And now I take it back. So
Anyway,
you just eat your own words.
so I want to do just one more clip.
Okay, one more.
It's
We
from
can do that.
This from a local news broadcast, and it's highlighting a really important person in this town.
I see the title of it.
Yeah,
His name is John
that's
Scoggin,
going to go on the right.
or more commonly known around
okay.
Springfield as the Chili Bowl Mullet Man.
Oh, I've
Chili
always had
Bowl?
it like this for
nearly 30 years now.
Is this
For
a
years,
blockbuster?
Scoggin has been getting
like a
attention
video
for
game
his
store.
hairstyle, and since he walks everywhere,
Oh,
he's
the
easy
cargo
to spot
pants.
Also.
Oh, I get people that pretty much scream out Chili Bowl Mullet Man, you know, it says mullet and all that.
I got people that scream out pretty much "Chili Bowl
Chili
Mullet
Bowl,
Man,"
Mullet Man.
and I love I love
Man.
the highlight on the cargo pants.
It's horrible.
Yeah, they're pretty-
Actually,
This guy's
it's horrible.
No, but you know what? Like now that kind of normcore is in, this guy's
He's-
sort of
yeah.
killing it.
He's in style.
Like Tyler the Creator would probably like use this guy's line of clothing as his new thing.
I don't see why not.
Since 2010, Scoggin has gone from just a guy with an interesting haircut to a local celebrity.
Yeah, he
At that time,
has.
he was just kind of like this mythical Bigfoot creature where people like take pictures like, dude, check it out, it's Chili Bowl Mullet guy. It's not like Chili
Dude, check it out. It's like Chili Bowl Mullet guy.
Oh my god.
Oops. Oops.
and like he's gotten this following on Facebook where he has like 2,000 or 3,000 followers now.
His
Wow.
Facebook page actually has over 4,000 followers, and the number continues
she
to
corrected
grow.
him.
But at first, Scoggin didn't even realize he was becoming so well known online. The creator of Facebook's 217 Problems actually made the Chili Bowl Mullet Man page himself.
He
Wow.
set up a page called Chili Bowl Mullet Man, and at the time I didn't know there was a site called that. Why not? I mean, if people want to look at
I know,
me as
right?
like some sort of a legend, I mean, why not just take it as the opportunity?
You are a
and-
legend, dude.
Dude, Chili, yeah. Like, I think that instead of they, them pronouns, we should have Chili Bowl
Chili
Mullet
Bowl
Man.
Mullet Man.
Yeah.
I identify as Chili Bowl Mullet Man.
Chili Bowl Mullet Man. I think that's what the new gender should be. Chili mullet.
If you guys aren't watching, this guy has, I mean, obviously a mullet, but the Chili Bowl part is right across the front.
Yeah, so it's like a bowl cut and
Bowl
then
cut in the front, party in the
and
back.
total party in the back. Yeah, and he's probably like maybe 60 pounds overweight, very average looking white dude, and he's wearing cargo pants. And he's buying DVDs.
You would never see this haircut on somebody who wasn't white.
Well, I don't think it would be possible on somebody that's not white. I think this is strictly or Asian. Asian could do this too.
Yeah,
You need pretty straight hair for this situation.
that's true. Well, you could straighten it.
But he's also buying DVDs, which is also a very odd practice in 2018. I would
Yeah, it
say.
is kind of a middle America kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
go right to it.
After that,
Right to
the
it.
Chili Bowl Mullet Man and 217 Problems became friends, and they ended up creating something that took everyone by surprise.
We just basically just wanted to go do a video. People loved it. People ate it up. There was like over 30,000 views on that video.
Chili Bowl Mullet Man's claim to fame started right here on the west
That's
side of
not what I
Springfield.
expected her to
but
look
now
like.
he's going
Me either.
national. MTV's Ridiculousness spotted one of his videos on Facebook,
So I love about this part of the news segment is she just films her computer.
and since then, his fame
Watch.
continues to grow and grow.
I am the Chili Bowl Mullet Man.
No.
I really want to
Oh, look at the bottom there.
I know.
The thumbnails or whatever.
If I want to go out and buy anything I want, pretty much that. I can just about
Yo, I've never seen a bowl mullet together. Like, that is so amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty unique.
Yeah.
Oh man, there it was. I'm saying that I'm the Chili Bowl Mullet Man and all that. They loved it.
I love how he's just got this little thing about him.
I know.
He's so excited.
It could have been taken. He could have taken it as bullying when somebody created it, but he's embraced it. He's the fucking Chili Bowl Mullet Man.
Chili Bowl Mullet Man.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
Living.
I think so. I think this is the kind of legend we should all get. Like kind of like a
Yeah.
Ken Bone situation. Like this is what we should be getting behind. This is what's going to bring us all together.
I
serious.
hope he doesn't get political.
Oh yeah, well I don't know. It's kind of like the Ken Bone thing, where like the things we found out that he was political made him more endearing. Like the fact that he had that post on Reddit that said I saw Jennifer Lawrence's butthole and I liked it, and he was like into prego porn.
Oh,
It
God.
made him more human and endearing. To
I
me.
guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. Prego porn is pretty.
it's intense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
believe that was a Chili Bowl Mullet Man right there.
Scoggin is a perfect example that being who you are is
Scoggin.
always the best path to take. And he would know.
Hey, you know what?
Wait.
Everybody's got their own way.
In Springfield,
He's so
I'm Grace
sweet.
Gellin
Sweet.
reporting.
Chili Bowl Mullet, man.
That smile.
It's kind of a funny, heartwarming story to end on.
It is. I like that a lot.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Man. I don't think so. I'm starving.
Yeah, we can go eat
You want
something.
to go grub on some grub?
Go grab on some grum.
Sweet.
Grums is grum.
All right, Bones.
All right, Bones.
Wanna...
Chunk my corn.